Hi everyone, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. Today on John's Briefs with Tim Forshee, we recently had a good old community potluck. A beatdown of a bunch of perps who needed it, and I want to talk to the attorney about a little bit of community justice and where we got to draw the line. Firearms Legal Protection is who I trust to help me after a use of force incident. If you're a Firearms Legal Protection member, you can attend our monthly Active Self-Protection training seminars for free. Check out all they offer to their members at the link below. I say this all the time on the channel, right? I'm like, look, I get it. I do enjoy a good potluck, right? Yep. You know, so we jokingly call them potlucks when you see, and we've seen them many times. I'll put a link in the description of the most recent one. Dude gets snatched up in the middle of a violent crime and gets a whooping for it. And everybody gets a turn. You see people come in and smack him upside the head and kick him in the guts. And, you know, pretty soon the little kids are involved and grandma gets a good smack in there and it's like a potluck. Everybody brings a dish. And I get it. There's some schadenfreude here, right, of like,
one of my favorite words. Yeah,
that dude got what was coming to him.
The Texas lawyers creme de menthe when they would just say the bastard had it coming.
Yeah. And you know, he needed a beating,
right.
And I do think in most men's lives, we used to joke that at every point a man needs a butt whooping just to remind him that he needs to play nice.
When I was a kid, and perhaps when you were a kid, that was, you know, my parents gave carte blanche to all my friends' parents. If you see him screwing up, smack him. You know, I mean, nobody thought twice about that back in the 60s and 70s.
It's
you know?
true, for better or for worse.
For better or worse, but you know what? I don't know. I mean, you could get into an argument here about how people are more polite if they're raised that way. But.
Well, and I would say, you know, when I went to high school, if you lipped off to somebody, there's a good chance you might end up in a fist fight over that.
Doinked, yeah.
And if you end up in a fist fight, if you're tough, well, then you can get away with mouthing off. However,
and for us guys, that guy was often then ends up being your best friend after that.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
So, yeah,
But on the other hand, okay, so we see this in these crime videos, right? Mm-hmm. So we tend to see them not in the U.S., okay? Right. So we tend to see them overseas much more, and the whole community shows up because maybe they don't have a policing presence.
Right,
maybe they are the policing presence. Yeah. But I say this, Tim, and at some point, this goes from we're protecting ourselves to we are punishing.
What it boils down to is it's vengeance. And in the United States, at least, vengeance is not legal. It's never legal. My good friend Inigo Montoya.
You killed my father.
Prepare to die.
Prepare to die.
You're rooting for Inigo, man. I mean, he's got the angels on his side, right? The problem is if he kills that guy, he's going to prison for the rest of his life. Vengeance killing is never legal. So it's tempting. My gosh, we all have that gene, right? We all have that need to go over and just give that guy one kick right in the side. But it's illegal. That's all there is to it. It's never going to be legal.
In a more current example, we get it. You weren't supposed to kill John Wick's dog.
Yeah.
I mean, that's terrible, right? Going on a murdering rampage over killing your dog, maybe not so okay.
Makes for good cinema, though.
Makes for good cinema.
Yeah.
And so listen, that vengeance, you know, at some point, okay, so we had an earlier video about citizen's arrest,
right,
and how dangerous that can be. Now, not only are we going to hold him, but we're going to make him pay.
Right.
Now we open ourselves up, certainly here in the U.S., to charges.
Yep.
And again, the worst thing on earth would be for the circumstances to get flipped, the tables to get turned.
That's right.
And we end up as an offender.
I always think of an incident that one of my heroes when I was a kid growing up because of the way he played football is Roosevelt Greer, the down lineman for the Los Angeles Rams. And of course, right after he retired, Robert Kennedy hired him to be a bodyguard on his campaign process. And so he was at...
This guy's old, man.
I'm so old. He was at the Ambassador Hotel when Sirhan shot Robert Kennedy. And Rosie was right there and saw the shots fired and basically protected Sirhan from being torn apart by the crowd. I mean, he tackled him and took him down, but he got him out of there until the police could take custody because he was going to get torn to shreds.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow. I mean, just talk about the moral fiber of somebody that could do that under that circumstance. Somebody you admire and love and respect. You just watch them shot down in front of your eyes, and then you have the presence of mind to not just tear that person to shreds with your hands. I mean, he probably outweighed that guy by 100 pounds. I just sort of think that's noteworthy, and it's very, very difficult because if you just go through something like this guy just tried to rob me. He just came hold me at gunpoint, and now he's on the ground, and 3 guys have got him immobilized. I'm going to want to give him a good kick in the side of the head, you know.
And we see that one pretty regular. You know, somebody wins a defensive gunfight, and then they come up and kick that dude in the head, and think maybe in the immediate aftermath, you're going to get away with a little bit of that.
I think human nature will win out to some degree. Yeah, the jury's going to say, well, they shouldn't have done that, but the whole jury nullification concept comes into play. So
all right, that wasn't the best, but whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully a prosecutor will see that and go, whatever, dude, he just threatened you with a gun.
But when it goes beyond a certain point,
right. Well, and that's a problem. I think sometimes we go, well, what's that certain point? And I do think as a community, sometimes we go, hey, we're tired of criminals. We're certainly tired of violent criminals. And so that message it sends to other violent criminals is a prophylactic against crime.
It's a deterrent, for sure, yeah.
It's a deterrent.
Yeah.
And so, but as a society, we've removed that from the emotion of the moment, and that's why we say we take them into custody, we gather all the facts, and we let a jury of 12 people who are disattached from there and uninvolved to it, decide the punishment to give.
And don't forget one other factor. 20 years ago, if 12 people administered a whoop down on that guy, and the police showed up, and all 12 people in complete harmony said, nope, didn't see anything at all.
Right.
That's going to be pretty hard to prosecute somebody,
Yep.
right? Those days are over.
Yeah.
You are on 16 different video screens outside of your house at all times in our society now. So there's no way that's going to be the collaboration of silence. The mafia is not going to come in and do omerta on this thing. People are going to find out about it.
I mean,
so you're
20
going to get
years ago, if you killed a cop 20 years ago and the cops caught you, you're going to show up to the jailhouse looking like you fell down every step on the way.
Let's be candid. If you were a cop killer, there's a really strong chance that you were going to die resisting arrest.
Okay.
So yeah, let's be honest about it.
But now we live in an age of badge
That's right,
cams.
badge cams, and
that doesn't happen anymore.
And I'm not going to say that's wrong or that it's not better.
Right.
But it is what it is. Yeah, you're not going to have the leeway in the system that you might have had 20 years ago or longer, because it just doesn't exist anymore.
And if you're outside your home, anywhere in the world today, I would assume that you're being video recorded.
And half the time in your own home. But yeah, if you
some people live in their own
step
home.
out of your front door, you better assume you're on tape. You bet.
Assume that you're
That's
on
right.
tape. And that to me, just like badge cams, people say, well, that changed cops' behavior. Not for most of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it shows that, hey, we're professional, we do a professional job.
Right.
And it makes the professionals be even more professional.
And 90% of the time, badge cams end up benefiting the officer.
Absolutely.
It verifies the officer's story. So yeah.
And so, being caught on video, defending your life, hey, that's great because it shows what really happened. And it's not he said, she said. We have video of it, so we know that I was a good, sane, sober, moral, prudent person. This is good. Until you cross the line and you become the punisher.
Right.
If you use your defensive force as a shield to protect yourself from harm,
You should be fine.
good to go. If you use it as a sword, you put yourself at risk.
It always boils down, like most everything else, to the Princess Bride.
I mean, we all get Inigo Montoya.
What more do you need, Inigo? I mean, yeah.
We need to go back to the beginning. Vicini said, go back to the beginning. So, community beatdowns, I get it. I love watching them on video too. I just don't want you to participate in
Yeah,
them.
amen.
Okay? Tim, thanks for the knowledge.
As always, buddy. Thanks.